Do you want to sleep? Then listen to me. Turn off the lights, close the windows, now close them and listen to you. Finally, I will make a request to you. Put down your phone and listen to my voice. Listen clearly. I will now tell you a story that will make you sleepy. Close your eyes and listen carefully to my words.
Thyestes stood very still. He looked down at his hands as if expecting the golden fleece to glow again, to pulse, to defend him with some last-minute miracle. But the fleece remained wool and nothing more. And in that quiet truth, he understood that the gods had spoken and that they had not spoken for him. The people murmured, their voices rolling across the citadel like the first warning of a coming storm. A king who could not win the sun's favor could not keep a throne. And a man who had prospered by trickery would not be spared when trickery finally turned its gaze upon him. Atreus stepped forward. His face held the calm of a man who has gambled everything and found the gods sitting at his side of the board. He lifted his hand, and the crowd parted like a tide relinquishing a rock. "My brother," he said, with the velvet softness that always precedes a blade, "the heavens have rendered judgment. The crown returns to its rightful keeper." Thyestes opened his mouth to protest, to plead, to argue, but he found no words. The sight of the sun reversing its path had stunned even him, a man who believed he could charm the sky itself if he spoke quickly enough. The guards came for him, not roughly, yet, but with the certainty of men who know that mercy is a brief stop on the road to punishment. They stripped him of the tokens of rulership, the embroidered cloak, the staff, the rings that seemed suddenly too heavy for his fingers. When he was led away, the people watched with a strange silence, half awe, half satisfaction. Justice, when it comes, often wears the face people secretly hope to see. But Atreus was not finished. Vengeance is a creature that grows in the dark, fat on silence. Loyalty betrayed is a cord that snaps inward before it strikes outward. And the curse that had followed the sons of Pelops from Olympia to Mycenae did not pause simply because the sun had changed its course. Atreus wanted more than his throne. He wanted a reckoning. He invited Thyestes back, not to court, but to a homecoming supper. He spoke with the soft gravity of a man ready to bury a feud. He said blood was thicker than insult. He said brothers must not be enemies. And Thyestes, weary, hungry, stripped of power, but eager for the illusion of peace, accepted. He came to the hall where torches glowed like molten gold on the stones. He sat at the table where he had once presided. Servants poured wine. Plates arrived smelling rich and savory. Atreus watched him eat with a smile that flickered at the edges like a candle in draught. Only when the last cup had been drained did Atreus rise. "Brother," he said, voice ringing through the hall like a judge's verdict, "you have dined well." Thyestes nodded, uncertain. "Good," said Atreus. "A father should feast upon his sons." The world tilted, the torches guttered. Somewhere a servant choked back a sob. Atreus clapped his hands, and the guards brought forward a bundle, cloth unwrapped to reveal what remained of the children Thyestes loved. The truth spilled across the table like blood. Thyestes screamed, not like a man, but like something deeper, older, a creature dragged out of the pit of grief at the center of the world. And Atreus, triumphant, did not blink. A silence fell over Mycenae that night, a silence so deep that the Furies themselves leaned forward to listen. The curse was no longer a shadow. It had taken a seat at the table, and the House of Atreus had only just begun to pay its price.
The empire should have been strong. It had marble halls, armies of iron, and a treasury filled with gold pulled from mountains and rivers across the land. Yet power, as history always proves, is not measured in stone or wealth. It is measured in unity. And unity was the one thing the kingdom no longer possessed. The king's throne now sat in a hall that echoed with arguments. Nobles snarled at one another across long tables. Generals paced with clenched fists. Advisors whispered in corners like spiders spinning webs. Every man claimed to want the good of the kingdom, but each of them wanted something slightly more: the crown itself. The king, older now, weaker, watching the firelight flicker across maps of lands he once conquered, felt the weight of betrayal creeping closer with every passing moon. Rumors filled the palace like smoke. Lord Varen is preparing an army in the west. The Merchant Guild has stopped funding the capital. The prince may not be loyal, not anymore. And yet no one dared speak openly, for fear of being accused, or worse, being correct. The king's closest friend, the old scholar Maedor, watched these storms of ambition with a shaking head. "Your Majesty," he warned one night, "a crown is easy to steal when hands outnumber hearts." The king listened in silence, knowing Maedor spoke truth. For the first time in his life, he understood something painful. A ruler can command armies, but not loyalty. And as the kingdom grew louder with disputes, rebellions, and secret councils, the king realized what he had feared most. The fall of a kingdom never begins with war. It begins with whispers.
By dawn, the storm finally drifted away, leaving behind a sky washed pale and silver. The travelers resumed their journey, walking through fields where the wind whispered through tall grass like voices sharing ancient secrets. Aaron kept glancing at the parchment he recovered in the ruins, a royal decree once signed by a king whose name had been lost to time. Celine walked beside him, studying every broken stone and flattened road with a historian's instinct. What happened here, she wondered aloud. This land should be thriving, but it feels abandoned. And she was right. As they moved deeper into the valley, they found the remains of a once great city. Pillars cracked and leaned like old men trying to stand. Market squares sat silent, stalls overturned as if the people had fled mid-sentence. Faded murals depicted kings in golden crowns, each one more extravagant than the last. But there were no people, no smoke, no footsteps, just a city frozen at the moment its heart stopped beating. Aaron brushed his fingers across a fallen statue, another kingdom erased, like the others. But Celine walked beside him, something half buried in dust. A circle of small bronze crowns, arranged with unnatural precision. Children's crowns. She swallowed. This wasn't abandonment. It was a warning. Before they could examine further, a cold gust of wind swept through the empty street, swirling dust into a tight, unnatural spiral. Aaron and Celine exchanged a glance, both sensing it. Not a breeze, not a coincidence, something watching. And then the sound. Soft, slow, metallic. Clink, clink, clink. Footsteps? No. Something being dragged. A shadow moved at the end of the boulevard, tall, bent, and carrying what looked like a long staff or a spear. Its face was hidden, but its voice creaked like doors long rusted shut. You seek the fall of kings, but you walk upon the remains of their last mistake.
Aaron stepped forward. "Who are you?" The figure lifted its head just enough to reveal hollow eyes that glowed faintly in the dim morning light. "I am the Keeper of Crowns, and if you wish to uncover the truth, you must learn why kings feared their own children." The wind stilled, the valley held its breath, and the journey toward the darkest part of history had truly begun.
The great hall was silent. Not the kind of silence that comes from peace, but the silence that follows centuries of struggle, as if every brick in the walls was holding its breath. You step through the last archway, the torches flickering behind you. Before you stands the final throne, not golden, not jeweled, not shining like the stories promised, but cracked, old, and heavy with the weight of forgotten kings. This was where the greatest rulers once sat, and where the last one fell. You can almost hear them, the echo of crowns being placed, the whisper of advisors arguing in the shadows, the distant roar of crowds celebrating victories that have long turned to dust. You run your hand along the armrest, deep grooves, marks from a nervous king during a siege, scratches left by a desperate ruler in exile, burn marks from a torch raised against tyranny. Every scar is a story. Every dent is a dynasty. You sit, not as a conqueror, not as a king, but as a witness. Through the broken windows you can see the ruins of the city beyond, the shattered high towers, the abandoned gardens, the cracked roads that once carried armies and coronation parades. This was the end of a world. The kings didn't fall in a day. They fell in decades, one betrayal at a time, one rebellion at a time, one forgotten promise at a time. You remember the old chronicles. Every kingdom is strongest on the day before it breaks. A cold wind moves through the hall. Dust drifts through the air like old memories waking up. You rise from the throne as the final realization settles in your chest. No king was ever truly defeated by an enemy. Every kingdom was undone by itself. Outside, the sky dims to a quiet twilight. The ruins glow in the soft amber light, beautiful in their own tragic way. The era of kings is over. But their stories, their mistakes, their triumphs, they echo long after the crowns have crumbled. You step out of the hall, leaving the final throne behind. The chapter of kings has closed. A new chapter, a new world is waiting to begin.
Night fell over the kingdom like a heavy curtain, and with it came a silence no living historian could explain. The wind did not move, the torches did not flicker. Even the ravens, who had feasted so greedily on battlefields past, perched like stone statues along the broken walls. You stand at the window of the ruined citadel, looking out at a world that once knelt before 100 kings. Now it kneels before no one. The armies have scattered, the nobles have fled. The throne room, once glowing with gold and pride, lies buried beneath collapsed marble and shattered banners. Only one thing remains: the last crown. Not worn by a king, not locked inside a chest, but resting on the altar in the Hall of Echoes, the oldest room in the entire fortress, where ancient kings once prayed for victories, alliances, and peace they never truly understood.
You descend the dark stairway into the hall. Your footsteps echo like memories. The crown waits on the stone altar, lit only by the moon through a cracked ceiling. It is not the grand jewel-encrusted masterpiece of the later monarchs. No, it is old, almost primitive. Iron hammered into shape by forgotten blacksmiths, touched by rain, war, and the breath of kings long turned to dust. As you step closer, the air grows colder. A voice whispers, not from a ghost, not from a spirit, but from the weight of history itself. Only one truth remains. Kings rise because their people let them. Kings fall because they forget why they rose. Your hand hovers above the crown. To touch it would mean accepting a history soaked in battles, betrayals, miracles, and mistakes. To leave it would mean letting the monarchy end forever, leaving the world leaderless, shapeless, unclaimed. Lightning flashes through the cracks in the ceiling. For a moment, you see them, the kings of every era, the conqueror who unified the tribes, the scholar who rebuilt the libraries, the tyrant who drowned rivals in gold, the child king who died before his crown fit, the queen who ruled with fire in her heart, the last king whose final breath still lingers in the stones. They watch you silently, not commanding, not pleading, waiting. You finally touch the crown. It is colder than snow and heavier than any metal should be, for it carries the weight of every rise, every fall, every life changed by those who ruled. As you lift it from the altar, the torches along the walls burst into flame, as if exhaling after centuries of silence. The hall brightens, revealing murals of kings, battles, and the countless stories that shape a kingdom. You turn toward the stairs. Outside, the ravens lift into the air again. The wind stirs. The night begins to breathe. A new chapter in the kingdom's story is beginning. But whether you will restore the age of kings or end it forever, that choice has yet to be written.